Patricia, thank you so much for taking time out of your day this morning to spend with me. I have been so blessed to have received some of the work that you do, and I just wanted to have an opportunity to let others get to know you. And so thank you again. I've written down some notes today of questions because there's so much I want to ask you. I want to make sure not to forget anything. So I would love to just start out and start asking questions of you if that sounds fine to you.
Yes, wonderful, Kim. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I know that we spoke earlier, and I know that you maybe have written down a few things as well. So I just
Yes,
wanted to,
exactly.
yeah, set the stage for the audience a little bit there. So,
That we
all
might
right,
check on our
we
notes.
might. Yes, we might. All right. So the first
Okay.
question that I have for you is, what led you to become a holistic intuitive practitioner?
Yeah, thanks for asking. For me, it was a first-hand experience. So I had a session with another holistic intuitive practitioner myself, and I was one of the lucky ones who had a really big shift in the very first session where I was like, oh man, I want to do this too. I mean, this work is just so powerful. And I want to help others with this too. I know so many people who are stuck and who look for answers, who are so interested in personal development, or even like myself, tried a little bit of therapy and were just like, I just can't talk about all that shit anymore. But it's just like
Yes.
time to move on. And I had such a powerful shift that I thought, like, I want to do this too. And, I mean, for all of us, pandemic happened, but before the pandemic, I was a yoga teacher and I really, really loved holding this space. And pandemic forced me to change trajectories. Then I was like, oh, it's really something I would like to connect with again. And it feels like this work feels like a natural succession to teaching yoga. Yeah.
Yeah. De- well, that makes a lot of sense. And um, I kind of love that even though the pandemic happened and was a hard thing for so many of us, you used it as an opportunity for a launching pad into not only helping yourself and your healing, but to help others as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a beautiful work.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for that answer. I love the opportunity that you're going to be sharing about you and sharing more about this wonderful work that you do. Let me ask, who tends to come to you, and what are they often struggling with before they reach out to you?
So it's people from all walks of life, and but what they have in common is like they are deep into the path of personal development, as we said before, and it's also kind of the high achievers and yeah, the highly self-responsible people. High achiever doesn't mean that it has to be a CEO or something, but the work is for sure beneficial for those high-level people as well. It can also be a homemaker who's just like tired of feeling stuck in a health pattern or in a relationship pattern, or also has some other financial goals they want to achieve, and where they feel stuck in. Yeah, say, and it's also yeah, yeah, it's mostly people who are like they tried a lot already, and a few things might already have been working for them, but now they are like hitting a certain ceiling. So where they are, as we call it, stuck, and yeah, they just need a different approach, maybe a more holistic approach is what we are offering as holistic intuitive practitioners. Yeah, that yeah that that encompasses the entire system of a human being and not maybe a certain aspect a personal life coach would cover, for example.
I love that you talk about the holistic aspect. Can you talk a little bit more about what sets you apart as a holistic intuitive practitioner from other people doing even this type of work, which I know is so groundbreaking. There's not many people doing it.
Yeah, I think every modality has its use. So I mean, therapy has its place, and life coaches have their place. That can be all very effective and useful. I think what the main difference for me is that I don't offer packages, so you don't have to book. You don't have to commit to 10 sessions. It is. I mean, we can't guarantee it, right? But it is common that you already have a huge shift in the very first session, and then maybe you might need another session only in half a year because you also need time to integrate, right? I think that's one of the major things that sets me apart. Yeah, I also find that it's a more organic and respectful way of working. So nothing's being ever imposed on you. You also don't have to spend endless hours talking and digging deeper into your issues. Yeah, so for me, it wasn't even a big trauma, in my very first session. It was just a pattern my subconscious mind made up, and we were able to clear it in the very first session. And yeah, sometimes it can be a bigger topic you will need to work on. And I always compare it to like you have your issue or your goal you want to achieve. That's also something I think that sets us apart as holistic intuitive practitioners, that we always focus on a specific goal we want to achieve. So yeah, I love that about this work, that it's so goal oriented. And yeah, so you have this goal on a table, on a desk, and that desk can have maybe only one leg. In my case, for my very first issue I've been working on, it was really only one leg that needed reinforcement. But sometimes that table can have maybe 10 legs. For example, people who struggle with releasing weight, this can have to do with some hormonal balancing we need to do. So we need to first work on whatever your body is ready for. I'm just making this up on the fly, right? So if we take weight loss as an example, and it comes up for you that your hormones are really out of whack, and this is the issue we need to focus on right now. So we reinforce that hormone leg. And then once the hormones are balanced, maybe a few weeks later, we work on the other legs and do maybe you're lacking some minerals or supplements. And this is what we need to reinforce so that your body is properly fueled to be able to shed the weight. Or it's just sometimes also, like in my case, crappy habits. Like I just like chocolate, right? So yeah, so there's also some habits we need to shift. But this is just to say the example that that issue or that goal, to reach that goal, might have several legs, and in order to yeah, sometimes that table has only one leg and you're good after one session, and sometimes maybe even reinforcing that very weakest leg can help you become so stable that you can heal your other legs on your own. Or if not, feel free to come back to me, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I love that. And thank you for that answer. And I think also you said something that was so very important. You said that you do whatever the body is ready for. Can you talk a
Exactly.
little bit about that and how that could be so impactful in your work?
When we talk about the body, I talk about the entire system. So it's your body, mind, spirit, everything that makes you you, right? So your entire system. It can also be your nervous system and your subconscious mind. And yeah, with that work, we are working with a lot of it is actually nervous system regulation and repattern brain programs in your brain. But nothing
Mhm.
is ever being how do you call that, imposed on you, right?
Yeah.
So it's always it's not hypnosis where you go deep into your subconscious mind and the conscious mind doesn't have to say anything. And I also work a lot with muscle testing, because your body already has the answer most of the time to your issues. And it's just, yeah, learning how to listen to your body
Yeah.
again. So I find muscle testing a very, very helpful and efficient and reliable tool, and it's guiding the journey.
It sounds like you really are able to give someone a very personalized experience, meeting them where they are, not only um, like in the physical sense, but if they're dealing with emotional or spiritual, or like you said, holistic. So I love that about your work, and I appreciate you taking the time
Yeah,
to in depth
yeah.
explain. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, your body won't give us answers, so it's also a teamwork, right? It's not me. You are doing most of the work, in fact, but your body will guide us and will never lead us somewhere where your system isn't ready to go yet, if that makes sense. So I find that
Yes.
very important too.
Yeah. So the client is really you as a holistic intuitive practitioner are allowing the client's body to guide the session, and you're coming along and facilitating and supporting. Am I understanding that correctly?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Which, yeah, it makes it really beautiful work.
Thank you so much for that answer. And you talked a little bit about how what you experienced as your first time having a session like this personally. But what can a typical person expect to experience or feel after a session with you?
I hate that answer, but it depends.
Well, tell me more. Tell me more. It's
It
an
really
honest
depends
answer,
on what
right?
we've been working on. And it can be, sometimes it's like embracing a truth that you already knew but didn't dare to embrace. Sometimes it can be like very eye-opening as well. And are like, oh, so we connect dots,
Yes.
that you knew were there, but you were not able to, yeah, literally connect the dots. So this is also where I come in then and facilitating a conversation around these things. Um, it was such a cool thing when I had my first session. It felt like that issue that was, I mean, it was like I never felt enough, you know, and it felt like going to the kitchen and forgetting what you wanted to grab. So that thought
Wow.
was never there again. You know, and I was just like, usually situations would have triggered me and just didn't come back. It was,
Oh,
yeah, that was really interesting. And I think like people always feel liberated and free and empowered. I think that's the common thing that runs through all the sessions. You will gain some self knowledge. You will be freer. Um, yeah, more empowered, more resilient, and closer
those
to
are
your goal.
those are powerful words. Those are
Yeah,
very powerful words. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And as you're describing that, I'm thinking about how much energy a person must be using up subconsciously running those patterns and looping in that, always going to the kitchen type situation.
yeah, yeah. You're so right. Yeah, that's another aspect as well.
So if someone is interested in this work that you do, but they're a little bit nervous about booking, what would you want them to know right now?
I'd want them to listen to their intuition. If you're not ready for it, take your time. Really take your time, and I'm there when you are ready. And it's also like there doesn't have to be a, we don't want to have, I know that we now talked really about massive shifts that I had and other people had, but I don't want you to feel the pressure. You know, there is no pressure to have a massive breakthrough right in the very first session we have together. What I can promise is that we'll have a safe and respectful conversation and that your system will guide us to what it's ready for, to shift, to release, to work on. And yeah, we'll just listen to that together.
I feel that from you when you're speaking. I can feel that from your heart,
Aw.
and that's
Yeah,
really beautiful. So thank you for that. Well,
yeah.
and can you walk us through a little bit about what a one-on-one session would be like with you?
Yeah, that's an excellent question because I know from my very first experience that it's still you're a little bit nervous, right? What's she doing? How does that look like? When we start the session, I'll just start with the client intake, asking some insights about your physical, emotional, and psychosomatic health, and then we spend as much time as we need on really honing down on your goal. Right? What's your goal? And honing it down in terms of also what is your body today, your body, your entire system ready for today. And
Yeah.
yeah, and from there we follow what your system shows us it needs and is ready for. So tools we can use is we can work with your meridians. I mean, although I do not treat, diagnose, prescribe, test, or heal, I can make some recommendations for supplements, for example, if that's something you're interested in. Um, we also work with visualizations and other balancing techniques. We work with clearing your energy and use maybe also some tapping. But basically, every
Tapping. What is
session,
tapping?
Tapping is emotional freedom technique. It's basically tapping on the acupressure points of your body. It's also a psychosomatic emotional freedom technique. Yeah, and yeah, so that's why every session is tailored, customized to you and your goal in that moment.
Thank you so much for your questions so far. I've just got a couple more questions that I wanted to ask you, Patricia, today. So the next one would be, what's your hope for someone who books a session with you?
I love that question. So I hope that they gain some valuable insights. I hope that you feel lighter, more empowered, and connected to yourself. With the with the sense of possibility that maybe you didn't even dare to feel, or haven't felt in a long time. And also that you feel seen and that you don't feel like someone who needs fixing or like something's being wrong with you. Um, and that you know that you hold already all the wisdom, knowledge, and tools in yourself, and that I can help you to see that. Yeah, and also that this work doesn't have to be exhausting, hard, or even violent, that it can be gentle and intuitive and deeply honoring of where you are right now. Yeah, and most of all, I think a very important point is that you really trust yourself again. Yeah, because I think that's where the real magic starts, when you trust yourself again, and I think that's very empowering.
That's such a huge statement, to be able for someone to trust themselves again.
Yeah.
I think we're all just indoctrinated to think that something outside of ourselves is the expert. And that's why I love the work that you do,
Oh, yeah.
because you really just bring it back to, you said it, you've already got all the wisdom, tools, and knowledge that you need. It's just having someone help come along beside you, to help that be remembered, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really wonderful. Thank you for that. And
Mm.
then, final question here for you this morning. Of course, unless I think of some others, because I reserve that right to do that. But is there anything else that you'd like to share with someone who's listening right now and wondering if this is really for them?
Yeah, it's just, yeah, thank you so much for being here, for listening, and for caring for yourself enough to explore this even. And I think not many people are ready to do this work. And yeah, if you'd like to take the next step, you find my booking information below.
Fantastic. Patricia, thank you so much for spending time with us today. I encourage anyone who is hearing this interview today to invest in yourself and go ahead and take that next step and click the button below. I think you'll be really glad that you did. So again, Patricia, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you so much for having me.